All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Quick Stix. We are back. Matt, James, and Sam here. How we doing, boys?
All good. All good.
Good. And back with us this week is Bryce. What's going on, Bryce?
Hey, what's going on? Thanks for having me back.
Of course. So if you guys missed last time Bryce was on, he is the head coach for the men's lacrosse team at Apex High School. It was our highest rated episode, so we decided to have him back. So let's jump right in. We got a lot to talk about this week. First up is, if you guys missed it, Blaze Reardon winning MVP of the league. While it's shocking to see a goalie win MVP of this league, I don't think it was too much of a surprise to any of us. Want to get you guys' opinions. Do you think Blaze deserved to win it? If not, who do you think deserved to win it? But if so, does this kind of open up the MVP discussion for non-goal scorers? I mean, are we going to start seeing guys like TD Erlin or Jack Rowlett, defenders winning MVP in the future? James, I'll start with you. What do you think?
So I have, I think the obvious take on this, but I'm really curious for your guys' take. So I think Blaze 1,000% deserved to win MVP. I think he was actually the reason the Chaos were in so many games. He not only ended scoring runs, but he had huge scoring opportunities because he actually played really well outside of the net. His box background really came out, a lot of ground balls around the crease and whatnot, but he created more fast breaks than any other goalie. And I think that's another reason why he actually won, is because he did more than his actual job. He was 61% of the year, and the only way you become 61% of the year is by being consistent over the entirety of the year, which is pretty crazy. But I think the way that this might open doors for non-scoring players is good, but I think the kicker to that is Blaze did a lot more outside of his job than what he needed to do. So I think the only way, like, let's say an attackman or like somebody else might win it is like if a faceoff guy is dominating faceoffs and also scoring goals, I think he has a chance to win MVP. I think an attackman who's scoring goals as well as riding, getting turnovers, getting the ball back, I think he also could deserve some type of MVP. So I think it opened the door, but it's also the reality of Blaze did a lot more than just save balls. Like, he did a lot more than that. But my fun fact of the day is Jack Rowlett also had 14 caused turnovers this season. So just kind of like let that marinate. So that's my take on it.
Love it.
Bryce,
what do you got?
Bryce?
Yeah, I agree with pretty much everything James said. I think we probably all will at this point. I think, when you look at look at leagues like the NBA or NFL, like you look at how they decide the MVP candidate and things like that. I think the one that's the most discussed is probably the NBA, because there's always the regular season MVP, and then it feels like there's a playoff MVP.
Right.
And with here, like, there was no question. It was just Blaze. It was Blaze all year in the regular season, and it was Blaze all year through the playoffs. And in my opinion, there was no question. I thought he deserves it. And like you said, Matt, I think it absolutely should open up the doors and just show that you don't have to be a goal scorer in order to get this. I think, like you said, James, Jack Rowlett probably deserved it as well. But I think caused turnovers might be a little harder for fans to get behind.
Agreed.
Unless – I could see someone more like Jared Newman, who's dropping 2-point bombs from beyond the arc. I could see him probably getting it before a guy who just collects GBs and CTOs.
Agreed. A little biased there because Bryce is a face-off guy, but Sam, what you got?
I think it's super refreshing to have a non-scoring position win it in this fashion, kind of, leading the team and being the reason they're in the position, although Chaos is still good alone. But and it just shows everybody they're taking everything into account. The league in general is taking everything into account, not just point scoring and total assists and all that. So they take in, actual effect away from just offense. So
sure.
Yeah, it was just a good refreshing take. Like we all said last week or on our previous episode, like we think he deserves it, but he probably won't get it. That's what we all thought. So, yeah. And Matt, to answer your other question on here, like if it wasn't Reardon, who else deserved it? I thought it was either going to go to Zed or Rambo. Like those guys, you can't deny their dominance in those positions. So.
Except for the championship game.
I was going to – I mean, you can't argue that it's so early for that.
So early.
I mean, you can't argue Blaze didn't deserve it, but I'm kind of in the same boat with Sam. I wouldn't have been surprised if Zed or even Jeff T had gotten it, but I was very happy to see Blaze win it. He obviously deserved it.
Yeah.
Especially with how he played in the championship game, which is a good segue. So if you guys missed it, obviously Chaos wins the championship, 14-9 over the Whip Snakes. Congratulations, James and Chaos fans everywhere.
Thank you.
Personally, I think it was a great game. It went back and forth.
Yeah.
It was a tight game up until about late in the third when the Chaos pulled away.
Yep.
Again, 14-9's your final. We've got a new champion. Thank God it's not Whip Snakes again.
Oh, my God. Thank God.
Agreed.
Story of this game to me, at least, was absolutely Chaos defenders. Jack Rowlett and Johnny Surdick played out of their minds. We actually watched this game together, James, Sam, and I, and it was in the third quarter. All three of us were like, we have not heard Zed or Rambo's name called once this game. So, I mean, when you were watching their slides, the one-on-one matchups, it was just textbook defense. So they completely shut them down. But want to get y'all's opinion. Sam, what'd you like about this game?
The physicality, man. Like that third quarter alone.
The third quarter, yeah.
They were going for straight CTE. Like they weren't fucking around. It was fun to watch, from my perspective, and yeah, especially what you just said, Matt. Like you don't hear Zed or Rambo's name at all. Like a few times, like I think Rambo turned the ball over more times than he got a shot off. So just a testament to that Chaos defense, how locked in they were. Because Rowlett was from the start, like Carlson's between the leg goal, he laid him out right after that.
Took him out, yeah.
So they're both locked in.
Bryce, what'd you like?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, to kind of go off that, I was honestly surprised that Rambo and Zed didn't force their own issues more. Like, it almost seemed like they ran out of gas. Like, it just seemed not saying that they were complacent being shut off. Obviously, that's not part of their offense, but it almost seemed like they weren't forcing the tempo. Like, I know that they both know that the Chaos were going to just come at them full speed, but in my opinion, you have to wear them down. It's almost like giving Derrick Henry the rock. Like, you may not have anything early on, but you keep giving Derrick Henry the rock, and he's going to end up with 163 yards and 3 touchdowns on the Seattle Seahawks defense. Yep. So, it just like I was more surprised that they weren't forcing the tempo more. And like I said, it just seemed to me like the Whips kind of ran out of gas, almost like how – again, I feel cheesy using all these different sports references here, but almost like how the Lakers have been, or like Miami's been, running it back year after year, going to the championship. It's like you just run out of legs at some point, and I feel like that's kind of what the Whip Snakes showed a little bit in the second half. But I'll be the one to say it. My opinion should have gone to Burnlore. Okay, I like Phipps came in the right spot for the Whips. Don't get me wrong. But in that game, I'm taking Burnlore 10 out of 10 times. I think there were multiple times or multiple goals where I was like, I think Burnlore gets that save.
Cloutier's near side. Cloutier's near side shot gets gobbled by Kyle.
And like a couple of those Danes shots where he's like just on that tight alley. I think Burnlore gets a couple of those saves. Whether that makes a difference in the game, who knows? But personally, I would have gone back to Burnlore for the championship game. He's your dog. He's your guy. I think you got to go back to him.
I mean, 8 goals in the first half. We were all shocked he was still in the game in the second half.
Yeah, Bryce texted me. Bryce texted me why is Phipps still in? Because he ended at what? Was he 39%? I think he was 36% for the.
It was
low.
Bad.
9 saves.
9 saves. Terrible. It was bad, and Kyle's played in big games, so crazy.
James, what do you got?
So, I do have a life outside of lacrosse, but I have watched the championship game 3 times now. And I think I actually have found how the Chaos did it. Like I really honed in on it. I think the Chaos beat the Whip Snakes because they did not switch on their goal line or on their goal line extended picks.
Yeah.
I think so. I didn't realize how much of their offense was built upon the Fogo coming down or Midi coming down, setting a pick for Rambo or Zed. The switch causes so much confusion, but it's also like weird rotations. Think about getting a pick in basketball in the corner. right? Like that's a weird rotation for any defense. Or getting a pick from the baseline. It's backwards. You're now sliding upfield and then rotating which way, right or left. So I realized that without Rambo getting topside with that switch, that took away Rambo's topside shot, which is bread and butter, but it also took away Jay Carlson's cuts in the middle. Their entire offense is predicated by that. And then when you switch on Rambo, who are you throwing back to behind the cage? Zed. Who does Zed have on him now? A midi, maybe a face-off guy, and everything goes from there. So I realized they didn't switch one time. Rowlett and Newman would sprint up the field and not allow them to get that pick. And that's kind of how the Whipsnakes ran their offense. I didn't really realize it until, I started watching it more this week. But I think the chaos showed that when you have a unit of guys who know the indoor game, it's truly a different game. It's really a different game. It looks a lot different. They have incredible finishers everywhere. Chase Frazier, I think, was the best decision Andy Towers made this year by far. Yeah. I mean, the kid has hands on the crease, finishes everything. And I think Mac O'Keefe has an outside shot like I've never seen. Dude. And this is something that Bryce can definitely attest to. But, because of where he likes to shoot, it makes closeouts really hard. Because when you close out on Mac O'Keefe, you're in the correct position because you're not giving up the middle of the field. But that's where Mac likes to shoot. When you're on the inside, he backs up and he pulls it near side. I mean, I didn't even see the ball go in when he had that outside shot.
The one he shot low to high was like –
I literally thought it went over the cage. Yeah, I didn't think it went in.
It was literally there. It's like
exactly. But I think that's how Mac does it. He knows people think, okay, I'm set, I'm good. And then he pulls it, and my God. And then Blaze played out of his mind, in and out of the cage. He had 63% saves on net. He was obviously the game changer. I think, like Bryce knows as a coach, matchups is everything. I think the Rowlett on Zed and Newman on Rambo, I think it's bad news for Whipsnakes, man. I think Newman's strong enough to turn Rambo when he needs to, and I think Rowlett's aggressive enough that Zed can't get into his bag. So I really think that they basically said, hey, if you get a pick, a goal line extended, I don't care what you're doing, you're not switching it. It's not a game, but that's how they play. So I think that's how they won it. That's how they did it. Don't let Rambo switch and play everybody else. So it was good, a lot of fun. But I think the Whipsnakes got a little chippy in the third. I think some of those hits were a little. You got to learn how to win and learn how to lose. But,
John Haas's.
It was frustrating.
Bro, that's terrible. Come on, man. That's dangerous stuff. And I'm all about the big hits and whatnot, but some of those were really late and really high.
I wish they were mic'd up. I just want to hear what was said. I just want to hear.
Yeah, because if you take a cross check to the head, you said something.
John Haas is such a calm, cool, collected guy. I want to hear what sent him over the edge to get a penalty like that because he doesn't ever do that.
He literally never does that. I mean, it's also they really thought they were going to win, man. They really thought they could do the same thing and win. So maybe adjustments, but yeah, that's my take. Good game.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people talking about how the Canadian box offense kind of played into that, which you've seen it all season. But, I mean, having that much room when you're used to, like James was saying earlier, tight quarters, it's so much easier on offense for these guys. But it does make me wonder because, obviously I'm assuming other teams have tried that defensive strategy of not switching. But no other team has – the defenders
don't have
Chaos.
That's what I'm saying. They don't have Rowlett and they don't have Newman.
You have to have the personnel to be able to do it, and I think Chaos is the only team that has it.
Because Tucker's strong, but he's not going to be fast enough to get above that.
No,
they'll switch that and then rotate after it. So I don't know, man. We're talking about adjustments. I mean, Bryce should be sitting here talking about a championship game if Archers knew how to adjust, and the Chaos adjusted. My bad.
That's fired.
Nope. There was no. There
was a shot we were talking about, Matt. That was.
That's fair. There's just no reason Archer shouldn't have gone farther. Man. There's no reason. Crazy. Anyway.
So that's another good segue.
Sure.
So it was a great championship game. Looking forward to next season. What we want to do is kind of go around. We all are fans of different teams here. But what's one thing you guys want to see? Either this offseason, if it's a major transaction, or if it's next season, someone you're looking to step up, something new you're looking to see on your team. Bryce, I'll start with you since we're on the Archers topic. What are you looking for?
Need this. Because you guys have everything.
Honestly, I think it's a 50-50 shot here. Like we talked about last time I was on, it's either go get a dominant faceoff guy or go get a dominant pole. Go get a dude down low.
Yep.
Yep. And that's it. That could be the one thing that puts the Archers in the same conversation this time next year. And I just think it's between the two. You got to pick one. And if I was the head coach and I was doing it, I'd probably pick a pole. Only because I still think they can make do with going 50% at the dot, and I think they're able to do that. personally, I love B Rabbit. I want to see what he's able to do in a full year healthy, because I think he's still a dominant force at the dot. But in my opinion, go draft the number 1 pole this year. Just don't even think about it. Run to the podium and select him, and don't even think twice about it. That's what I would do.
So I'm not saying Bryce is wrong, but I'm definitely going to try to rebuttal this. If the Archers have TD, I don't think they lose a game. Not kidding.
No,
I'm not kidding. They don't lose
Probably
a game.
not.
When would they lose, bro? Like Grant Abel would have the ball 16 times in a game.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, dude.
Like, dude, with TD, I mean, they go 8-0. No questions. So I think you're right about the poll because they need that. But with possession, dog, with your offense, I don't know. We'll see.
Yep.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Let's go to Sam. What are you looking for from your Atlas next year?
Definitely improvement on defense. I'm of the same mind as Bryce. Go run after the first ball you see in the draft.
Pause. Keep
going. But I mean, I think our offense, we got a lot of. I mean, we obviously have Teat, who first year in the league, tied for points, most goals. So
spoiler.
So that's going to continue to improve. So I just want to see improvement at goalie, because I just did a quick survey, and I think there was only 2 games where we held teams under 10 points.
Nice.
So,
woof.
But definitely, yeah,
Nice.
focus on defense and goalkeeping, and definitely off-ball movement on offense. I think we wait around too long for someone to make that first cut, and it just stalls everything. So, other than that, yeah, good job.
Good job to Atlas.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I'll go next. I'm a Chrome guy. So one thing I'm looking for is definitely development of these younger players. We didn't have JT Giles Harris this year, who I'm a huge fan of. I think he can have a huge impact on defense right away.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Tarafanko had a great rookie year. I think he can be one of the best SSDMs in the league. He showed it by far this year, so I think he can make that next step next year. But the big question mark is going to be, since we don't have John Galloway in net anymore, Nick Washuta is the backup. I think he can certainly be our starter, but I mean, if he's not the guy, we're going to be in some trouble. We'll be at the bottom of the ranks next year. But we've got a very young team, a lot of guys that are 23, a few that are 24, only 1 season in. Some of them haven't even played a second yet. So it'll be interesting, but that's definitely something I'll be looking for.
I think you guys will draft a goalie, no?
So that's the thing is, like, I think we have to.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But I think we also lost Gutterding, so
an
attackman also.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you still got the Wolf.
I don't know. I really think our coach is going to do the classic best player available in the draft. So yeah. I mean, we are going to draft early, which is good, but I think it's going to be, if there's that superstar on attack, you can't pass up. Go for it. If not, we might even trade back, take a goalie. But
I mean, you had to love what you saw from Colin. You got to love what you saw from Colin Heacock this year.
Oh, absolutely. I just think we need someone to pair with him. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So
yeah, James, this question might be tough for you, but how do you think the chaos can improve next
oddly,
year?
I don't think it is. This might not make sense to some just because of what we talked about with the Canadian offense, but I would like a kind of a 1-2 attack with maybe a couple more American type defenders, maybe drawing people out, doing those big dodges from midfield. Maybe have the first line be mostly Canadian, the second have some American guys in there, or at least like how they play. I would say other than that, just like shooters like Matt O'Keefe. I mean, Matt, this is something that we talked about at the beginning of the season, but like think about what Deemer would have done on this team this year. I mean, he would have had Matt O'Keefe's role, sit on the wing and ping corners. And with the indoor offense being that what it is, you have to pack it in. I think guys like Matt O'Keefe and big-time shooters will literally eat. I mean, so I would just say another shooter. Obviously, I don't think we're going to find another Matt O'Keefe, but another guy that can really stretch the field.
Yeah, that's a good point. I do think you have to keep those lines intact where you can.
Yeah.
I think that's something Andy Towers will be focusing on.
100%. Not to mention everyone's going to be watching all this film on, indoor ball and Canadian stuff. So, we'll see if it works again.
Matt, can I ask you a question? What would you give up to have Pat Spencer on the Chrome next year?
Oh my
Oh
god.
my god.
Oh my
I think
god.
a shorter list would be what wouldn't I give up to have Pat
100%.
Spencer on the team?
100%.
Oh, you got to give up
God.
a pinky at least. What do you say? You got to give up a pinky.
Oh
Oh
god.
man.
That's fine. Those aren't that important.
Honestly, I'd give something up just so I can watch him play, man. I miss
Yeah,
watching Pat
actually,
Spencer
yeah.
What are we
play.
saying here? Yeah.
I mean, Pat,
You're
dude.
giving up COD for a year? What are we
Don't
like?
get my hopes up like that, Bryce.
You have to give up red zone for half the season.
Oh Jesus.
Oh god. You have to change it every game. I think yeah, go ahead.
So last topic we had is let's give our way too early predictions for who's in the championship next year.
Ooh.
Sam, I'll start with you. Who do you like? Don't say Atlas.
He's gonna say Atlas. He's gonna say
He's
Atlas.
gonna say Atlas.
He's gonna say Atlas.
Fucking
Jeff
homer
Teats
pick.
MVP.
I think Atlas and
Just said no.
Redwoods probably.
Redwood, sure.
Yeah, because I think with what the chaos showed and how to defeat that GLE pick, which creates a lot of Whip Snakes offense. I think a lot of teams are going to mimic that and going to be able to figure out how to, stop that offense from getting that 1-2 pass and being a quick scoring offense. And I think it's going to take the Whip Snakes like another season to figure out, another top notch, like 1-2 punch like that. So I don't think they're going to return.
You think they fall off next year?
Yeah, definitely.
How much? You think top? They're still top 4 team?
Yeah, no, they're definitely going to be up there. But I think, we've kind of seen, they can bleed, and so everybody else knows how to defeat them. So, and Atlas Young, they were on the cusp this year. I think dominance with Trevor Baptiste and improvement on defense and goalkeeping were there.
I like it. Bryce, who you got?
I want to say Archers, boys.
Archers.
I want to say it. I don't know that I can right now. I don't know.
But Archers isn't a bad take. It's not.
I know it's not. I know. So I'll say, I don't know. I kind of agree with Sam. I really do like the Atlas. I told you guys at the beginning, like the first one. I like what they did all this year, and I think next year they might. Like this year, they put a lot of things together, but it really was a rebuild. And I think, coming into next year, they'll have that same chemistry. So I'm going to say Atlas, but I think the Whips get back and to the championship game. I think the Whips get back there. So I'll say Atlas Whips.
All right.
Honestly, I have no faith in Concannon. I think if they don't make a big change at goalie, I don't see the Atlas doing anything. I really don't. I think it doesn't matter how good Jeff Teat is. Their goalie situation was terrible this year.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing at times. So.
Yeah, that was kind of like.
I mean, we had our rookies. So
I was very, very close to putting Atlas in there just because I was like, their roster is just so deep everywhere. But I'm not a believer in Concannon either. So I picked against Chaos up until the second round of the playoffs, and then I started picking them all the way through the championship. I picked them to beat the Whip Snakes. They haven't let me down. So I know Chaos or Whip Snakes, one of them is going to get back to the championship next year. So I'm going Chaos. I think Water Dogs are going to meet them there. I think they're the two most complete rosters right now all around the board. I think Water Dogs are maybe one piece away from making that jump to the championship. But I love Andy Copeland as a coach. I think he can make the right moves this offseason, kind of like Andy Towers did this past year. Yeah. So I'm going Water Dogs Chaos. James, who you got?
Well, just real quick, guys. Sam, we got to go back a little bit. Sam was talking about they had a rookie goalie. Timmy Troutner was a rookie last year, and he did really well. Anyway, so I have the same take as Matt, actually. I think it's Water Dogs and Redwoods. I think it's Water Dogs because Matt's talking about that one piece. I think Sowers is that one piece. He played for 10 minutes, and we saw how unguardable he is. Who's guarding that every time? I mean, he has an AI-type crossover. And I think they are one of the most complete teams by far. But I think they have a little bit of a goalie issue as well, so they have to fix that. But I think Redwoods on the other side, TD coming back, Perk coming back. And it sucks because of those two injuries. Miles Jones' season wasn't really talked about, but he had a dominant season. A truly dominant season. I mean, he had games with 6 points. He had a couple, with 4 and 5. So, with him looking unguardable, Perk back, TD there. I mean, I don't think they're slow anywhere. I think it's just like an injury-ridden playoff run. So I think Water Dogs.
The Whips in playoffs, James. That's I think the main question everyone has, right?
So I think You think they do? Why?
Your point. You just said they're not going to be injury ridden. My bad.
Because but the thing that's tough with that is like I keep hearing all this stuff about Apple and like Rambo is taking Apple to school every year. So I think they come down and double that pick, or you send something to Rambo, or honestly Apple just gets some better feet.
Yeah.
And I think if that happens, they have a chance. But as it stands, I mean, I'm not sure. Rambo's really beaten Apple every single time. And I think Timmy Trauner had a down year. He had a weird year where he wasn't nearly as dominant. I think Timmy will get back to his ways, because when he stands on his head, I mean, he's up there with the big guys. So we'll see. I don't know. It's a good take. It's a good thought.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a very good offseason. It's definitely – it's kind of like the NFL this past year. Like everyone wrote immediately the Giants and the Cowboys off, and it was like it was solely based off of their record last year. And it was like, you guys do know that Dak Prescott and Saquon Barkley are like still in the league, right? Like
they are. They're going to be playing. They're suiting up.
I think it's the same thing. Like everyone looks at Redwoods this year and they're like, again, most people weren't talking about the year that Miles Jones had, and a lot of that was. He was all they had to focus on once Perkovic was out. Once TD got out, they didn't have as many possessions. So it's like you're giving him the ball more, and now they've got more weapons. Miles is going to kill it next year.
Mm-hmm. And TD's a face-off. Like he's a fast break face-off guy. He creates offense. So they now are losing out on some odd man opportunities that they had all season. So I mean, their coach took that loss so hard, man. I really felt for him. He was tore up about it. I get it.
Yeah.
I think any team that can create offense by having to slide to a pole, like I think that's the main thing here, right? I mean, I don't know. I'd like to see the Woods go out and get someone else with Jules down there, but I mean, that's why the whips are so successful, right? Because you have to slide to Zed, you have to slide to Rambo, and you're sliding to a pole, and that's instant offense right there. So,
wow, it's going to be a very interesting off season to see like what moves are made and whatnot.
Do we think with Rabel no longer playing, do we see an acceleration in the growth of this league?
Absolutely.
Like expansion teams.
Yep.
I'm assuming they're going to start going to more cities. What do you guys think?
Yep.
I think the best thing for the league is Rabel not playing, because that means he can invest more time in expanding the league.
Yeah. Just to be clear, Bryce does not like Paul Rabel, and he thought he was washed up, and he said he was going to have a bad season.
He had a good year this year. I gave him credit.
You did. I'm just saying. I do have to throw that in, because that's your take on Paul Rabel.
He had a good year this year. He ended on a good note. I was glad about that. His first year, he did not have a good year. I think he admitted that in several.
I know. We talked about it in Nashville, and I said he was going to come back.
Personally, the best thing for Paul Rabel is being an owner, being the whatever he is, and just pushing the game out there. Just push it out there.
I agree. It sucks that we didn't get to go to the game in DC. That's kind of what we're close to. But I heard the events surrounding the game, all the apparel, the games. I heard it was awesome. I mean, there was some kids who said this was better than the Final Four up in Boston and whatnot. It was just one game, because they had so much going on around the stadium. And when I went to the game, I mean, there was mini stick goals everywhere. I mean, they're really making the PLL an experience. And I think just like what Bryce said, with Rabel out, I think that just blows up. I think we see more betting lines. I think we see more drones. I think we see more shots getting kind of like the miles per hour. All the the little things that we really care about. I think Paul Rabel's going to really sit down and be like, how can I make this go to be like that league that I think this PLL can be. So,
and get that player touch on it too.
Exactly.
It's going to be even better.
It is. It's
going to be
awesome.
The only thing to add into that is, the PLL, they know where they're at, and they know how well they can do. I think the PLL should target some of these tournaments, these big top-tier tournaments, and get to those cities while those tournaments are in that city. Go to Frederica, Maryland, where there's nothing else going on besides Children of the Corn. Get down to that turf stadium and have a tournament there. Have a game there. Play it in the stadium. Blow it up. But, in my opinion, find some of these top-tier tournaments where all the top college coaches are going to go to, all the top college or future college players are going to go to, and host a tournament in that city on that same weekend.
Super smart.
Wow. Very good. I mean, I even think that Bryce, the Sixers thing they did in DC was actually a good turned out pretty well. I mean, they had some really solid teams there because the winner got box seats to the championship game. I mean, little things like that, man. I'm sure there's a bunch of guys who didn't watch the PLL, played in the Sixes game, heard about the PLL, and watched it that night, So
yeah, right.
You know what I mean? So, and I also think accessibility to games. They need to keep – Peacock has to always have the games available. Like, I want to be able to tell someone about the PLL. They can just go back and say, hey, this 17 to 18 game, you got to go watch Redwoods, what have you. Like, don't let them expire. Let them always be there because losers like me will watch them all season and all off season.
For my film session this week with my high school kids, we watched the PLL Championship game because it was accessible on Peacock as a replay.
Best coach ever.
They had a blast.
That's amazing. That is wow. Well, I want my defenders watching Jack Rowlett. I want because he doesn't live in the box. He's aggressive, but he doesn't not too many high hits, not too many slashes. Like he does just enough to like kind of get away with it. So I'd love for them to watch him. So
Bryce
I don't know, man.
Have some high expectations for his team this year watching the PLL Championship.
Yeah, right.
Why aren't you sliding like Rowlett?
Are you kidding me? When you come upfield and hit top right like Rambo did, do it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, that's all we have for this week, guys. Again, we want to thank you guys for tuning into Quick Stix. We're having a blast doing this. I think I speak for everyone when I say that. But
absolutely.
This is our last episode during the season. We will be uploading throughout the off season, and then most likely getting back to weekly as the next season approaches. Thanks again for Bryce coming on. As always, it was a pleasure, man.
Thanks for having me, boys. I appreciate it.
Of course.
Thanks, sir.
Again, check us out on YouTube or Spotify and follow us on Twitter at PLL Quick Stix. But until next time, we'll talk to you guys later. Peace.
See you.